Sorry, I managed to catch a summer cold. So, in order to sound semi-normal yesterday on these things, I had to do a whole... I'm going through a box of Kleenex a day right now. It's not fun. But, last night, I watched this. 2025's The Long Walk, which is an adaptation of the novella of the same name from different seasons. I think the only thing that we need to do from that book now is the very last story, the breathing method. But there are substantial changes to this, the age group of these kids, because they're not kids for the most part. In this, they're making the point that they have to be 18 or over in order to go into the long walk. In the story, they're younger, which is why this guy is like 35. Essentially, in this dystopian version, instead of the Hunger Games, we have one kid from every state who goes on this walk. And basically, it's all boys. You walk until you drop. When you stop walking, because you have to keep above 4 miles an hour, which, believe me, that's actually a pretty quick pace. I used to walk at 4 miles an hour just as a casual walk. That was the speed I went at. And most people could not keep up with me. And if I decided to turn the speed on, they really couldn't, because my fast walk was like most people's quick jog. Unfortunately, that's no longer the case. When your back goes, believe me, your walking really gets free. They get 3 warnings. You've got below the speed. And then you get your ticket. And since it's a horror film, I don't think I have to tell you what that's supposed to be an analogy for. We have Mark Hamill playing the authoritarian figure that's telling all these boys as they're walking how long and heavy, long dicks, heavy sacks, they're real men doing this for their family, for their country, blah, blah, blah. And whoever wins, the last person walking, is allowed all the money he'll ever want and one wish. Now, he watched his father get killed for trying to teach him about the old ways before everything went kerflooey, trying to find what little history that remained from prior, and that was forbidden, so he got shot. He wants, if he wins, wants his wish to be a carbine, one that's on one of the guards around them at the moment, and then he's going to turn around and shoot the major. He is actually a really good person, and these two end up friends throughout that. Even though it's really not to your advantage to have a friend on the walk, because in the end, only one of you gets to go. They become friends. They tried to do a little musketeer thing at the beginning. It doesn't last very long. Some of them manage to pull it off for a while. There's some promises made. Whoever wins will do this for the such and such. One guy who got into the walk, even though it's not supposed to be allowed, he has a wife. And there's this big thing that goes around, whoever wins will do something for the wife. He was dumb enough to do this, can't do anything about that. He bought his ticket, can't do anything about that. But we can make sure at least that she doesn't have to suffer unnecessarily. And of course, there is the one jerk that by the time they get to that point, no one's willing to ask him if he would do anything for the widow, because he's been such a jerk. There are fundamental differences from the novella. I can understand why they made them for the sake of the cinema. However, it's also... I love Stephen King. I truly do. But a lot of Stephen King's novels, the endings, remind me of when musicians started doing repeat and fade because they couldn't figure out how to end the song. Currently, in Canada, on Crave.